For centuries, people from different parts of the world have migrated to India. Traders and invaders came to India attracted by its wealth. One such invader was Muinuddin Muhammad from the Ghurid dynasty. Muinuddin Muhammad established his kingdom at Ghor in Afghanistan towards the end of the 12th century. That is why he is popularly known as Muhammad Ghori. He wanted to build an empire in Central Asia and was attracted to India because of its vastness and wealth. So he turned towards it, capturing Ghazni, Multan, Lahore, and finally Delhi. Around this time, the Rajput king Prithviraj Chauhan was ruling over Delhi. Muhammad Ghori fought 2 battles with Prithviraj Chauhan at Tarain near Thanesar in present-day Haryana. He lost the first battle in 1191 but won the second one in 1192. Delhi now came under Ghori's rule. However, Muhammad Ghori did not stay in India and left after putting Qutbuddin Aibak, his trusted slave and able general, in charge of his territories. After Ghori's death, Qutbuddin Aibak proclaimed himself the Sultan and made Delhi his capital. This marks the beginning of the era called the Delhi Sultanate.
In this lesson, you will learn about the establishment and expansion of the Delhi Sultanate. Learn about the administration of the sultans of the Delhi Sultanate.
From 1206 to 1526, a series of sultans ruled major parts of India with Delhi as their capital. This phase of history is called the Delhi Sultanate. Due to its strategic location, Delhi was always considered an important city. Delhi first became a capital of a kingdom under the Tomar Rajputs around the year 1000 AD. Their capital was called Lal Kot. It is interesting to note that Delhi, as we know today, has developed over hundreds of years with different rulers establishing new capital cities in and around the Delhi region. For example, when the Tomars were defeated by the Chauhans in the 12th century, Prithviraj Chauhan expanded Lal Kot and called it Kila Rai Pithora. Prithviraj Chauhan was later defeated by Muhammad Ghori in 1192. Muhammad Ghori captured Kila Rai Pithora and put Qutbuddin Aibak in charge. Qutbuddin later established his rule over the region. Like Qutbuddin, most sultans of the Delhi Sultanate established Delhi as their capital. The sultans built many capital cities in Delhi. For example, Siri was built by Khaljis. Tughlaqabad was built during the reign of Ghiyasuddin. Jahanpana was built by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and Firuzabad was built by Firuz Shah Tughlaq. It was during the era of the Delhi Sultanate that Delhi actually got established as an important capital city which controlled major portions of the country. The Delhi Sultanate comprises 5 dynasties: Slave, Khalji, Tughlaq, Sayyid, and Lodi. All these rulers came from outside and established their rule in Delhi. The Slave, Khalji, and Tughlaq rulers were of Turkish origin, and the Sayyid and Lodi rulers were of Afghan origin.
Click each dynasty to learn about some important sultans belonging to that dynasty.
As the Delhi Sultanate expanded, the sultans became more and more powerful. In the early 13th century, however, the sultan's rule over North India was very fragile or weak. The sultan's control was limited to heavily fortified towns called the garrison towns. It was difficult for the sultans to control the hinterlands, the lands bordering a city or a port. These hinterlands were responsible for supplying goods and services to the cities. Therefore, the sultans had to depend on trade, loot and raid for supply of goods and services. There were several reasons which made it difficult for the sultans to expand the sultanate. There were repeated invasions by the Mongols from Afghanistan. Additionally, Rajputs and other Rajas who wanted their independence often challenged the sultans. Also, if a sultan was considered to be weak, his governors would rebel against him and even conspire to kill him. Bad infrastructure also affected a sultan's control over his sultanate. As the roads were bad, travel was slow. Bad weather further made travel to distant territories tough, making it hard for the sultan to control the territories. It took almost 150 years for the sultans to consolidate their rule over North India and expand it to other parts of India. Ghiyasuddin Balban, Alauddin Khalji and Muhammad Tughlaq played important roles in the expansion of the Delhi Sultanate. These sultans strengthened their rule over their territories by controlling the internal frontier. They then expanded their rule over other regions by capturing the external frontier.
Click each factor to learn how it helped in establishment and expansion of the Delhi Sultanate.
As the Delhi Sultanate spread across India, the sultans became more and more powerful. However, it was difficult for the sultans to control distant territories without the help of reliable officers and administrators. Because of their loyalty, the early sultans chose their slaves for crucial posts in the government. These slaves were not mere servants, but close and trusted companions of the sultans. They were carefully trained and appointed as generals and governors. Over a period of time, some of them succeeded the sultans to the throne and became sultans. Apart from the appointment of slaves to high government positions, many military commanders were appointed as governors of territories of various sizes. These territories were called the Iqtas and the governors were called the Iqtidars. The Iqtidars maintained troops for controlling the Iqtas and the law and order in them. The Iqtidars were also responsible for collecting taxes from the people. 3 types of taxes were levied on people. People paid a tax called kharaj on land cultivation. They also paid taxes on houses and on cattle. This money constituted the total income from an Iqta. This money was utilized in paying salaries to the Iqtidars and the soldiers and maintaining law and order in the Iqta. What was left after these expenses was sent to the central treasury of the Sultan. That is why the Iqtas were crucial for the administration of the Delhi Sultanate. Each Sultan introduced important administrative measures to effectively rule the Sultanate. Some measures were successful, some were not. Some important measures were implemented by Qutbuddin Aibak, Razia, Alauddin Khalji and Muhammad Tughlaq.
Click the name of each sultan to learn about the administrative measures implemented during his or her rule. Administration of a ruler or a dynasty is reflected in the kind of construction work that takes place in that period. For the Delhi Sultans also there were several factors like establishment of rule, religion, availability of resources, etc. that influenced the buildings they built, and their monuments that we see today are a reflection of that. Click each factor to see how it affected the construction work during the Delhi Sultanate era.